You finally got that thing you wanted so badly. Your relationship is going well, things are going smoothly, your life is starting to fall into place, and then, without warning, you do something to ruin everything. You start a fight, you miss a deadline, you push the person who loves you away. Even if you don't want to, things start going wrong beyond your control. And then, standing in the wreckage, like you ask yourself the same question you've asked hundreds of times before: why do I keep doing this to myself? Self sabotage isn't a flaw in your character, it's a protective mechanism that no longer knows when to stop protecting. Somewhere in your past, your mind learned that happiness is dangerous. You engraved somewhere in your brain that good things don't last. Maybe you grew up believing that beautiful things don't last long. That's why you learned to attack first, to destroy the good before it could destroy you. This isn't logic, it's a survival program written in childhood and quietly operating ever since. Welcome to 5 Minute Psychology. In the next 5 minutes, you'll learn a powerful psychological idea that can change the way you think. Love psychology? Subscribe for more. Now let's continue. The psychology of self-sabotage begins with a simple principle. The mind prefers familiar pain to unfamiliar happiness. This may sound like a sick thought, but it is human nature. Familiar pain feels safer than unfamiliar happiness. If you grew up in chaos, chaos feels like home. You often seek refuge in it. If love is always conditional, unconditional love seems suspicious. Your nervous system cannot distinguish between different and dangerous. That's why when life starts going well, your body sounds an alarm that your conscious mind cannot hear. That's why you feel anxious when things are going well. You wonder if everything will go wrong now that it's so good. Not because something is wrong, but because nothing is wrong, and that feels wrong to you. Sabotage happens in many ways. Some people procrastinate until the opportunity passes. Others start conflicts in peaceful relationships, testing whether the other person will leave, because if they will, it's better to know now than be surprised later. Some divert their attention to other things: alcohol, affairs, endless scrolling, doing anything to avoid enduring happiness they feel they don't deserve. And underneath all of it is the same quiet belief: I do not deserve this. Unworthiness is not a thought you think, it is a feeling you carry. It was installed before you had words, in moments when love was withdrawn, when your needs were treated as burdens, when you learned that your existence was inconvenient. You did not decide you were unworthy. You absorbed it like a child absorbs language, without question, without defense. Now, decades later, that belief runs like background software. You do not notice it. You just notice the results. The relationships you ruin, the opportunities you avoid, the joy you cannot let yourself feel. Here is what makes self-sabotage so difficult to stop. It feels like safety. The moment before you destroy something good, there is relief. The tension of waiting for disaster finally ends because you created the disaster yourself. You are back in control. You are back in familiar territory. The unknown happiness is gone, and in its place is the known suffering you have survived before. This is not weakness. This is a mind doing exactly what it was trained to do. But here is the truth that can begin to change everything. You are not a child anymore. The dangers that required these defenses no longer exist. The love that was conditional then does not have to be conditional now. The happiness you could not trust at 7, you can learn to trust at 30, at 40, at any age where you decide that surviving is no longer enough. Stopping self-sabotage is not a matter of willpower. It is slowly teaching your nervous system that safety and happiness can coexist. It is noticing when anxiety rises and choosing to stay instead of running away. It is allowing good things to be good without expecting a punishment that will never come. You learn to sabotage yourself in order to survive. This learning kept you safe when you had no other choice, but now you have choices. You can choose freely. And the first choice is this: to realize that the enemy you are fighting is not outside of you. It is an old protector who does not know that the war is over. The hardest part of healing is not finding happiness. It is letting yourself keep it.